And welcome in, Gyms and Gymettes, to another exciting edition of No Substitute for Sports. I'm your host, Nick Johnston. This is episode 40, big old 40. And yes, in 1 week's time, we we will have that amazing part of the year where when you can turn the TV on and every major sport is on. The weather might be turning on us, but the TV is that's going to be our sense of warmth, our warmth right now,
Hmm.
just so you know. Thank you, as always, for tuning into the No Substitute for Sports on the Degenerates Network YouTube page. If you're just stumbling upon us, hit that subscribe button as well as the like button. Maybe share us around. Tell your friends. Tell your local NFL official as they completely take over Sunday Night Football. Yikes. I'm not salty because I live bet the Giants, but my goodness, that was atrocious. But I digress. You can always follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at The Degenerates. And every Friday, 1 p.m. Central, I go live on twitch.tv/SportsTownShy for No Substitute for Sports live, cleaning up anything we don't get to here and anything else. Finally, subscribe on YouTube and like it on Facebook as well. X-Bomb Sports' Facebook page and YouTube page, going live there, talking anything and everything in the pro wrestling ring that we don't get to over here, even as well, with my co-host and instructor David Double D Dykstra. There you go. So much to talk about today, Mikey guy. Mike gets a break from his Packers. They were on a bye, but the pain continues here in Chicago. Reactions to Tyson Bagent, more Bears frustration, and Week 6 upsets galore to recap all along. Next, a look into our fantasy football realm. We recap our personal fantasy league, but always giving some insight there, so stick around. Later on, MLB postseason check-in, and finally, a final pep talk for the Chicago Bulls and a look into the regular season, as that is about to tip off next week. All that, tons more in between. But before we get underway, let me introduce to you my friend, co-host, the founder and CEO of FatCat_Streams. And that's with a Z. Mikey J. Fatcat, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Per usual, pleasure to be here and ready to get this started.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Running a little late, but that's how we roll. We're always just shucking and jiving, rolling with the
Oh, we're
punches. Always gotta deliver. We're always doing something here. Oh yeah, there you go. A lot of stuff to get into. Even like I said, we even get to a little couple of appetizers. This was the big groundbreaking one, the Dillon Danis Logan Paul thing that broke the internet, I suppose. We didn't see it ourselves. It was on what, during the middle of the day or something. It was over
yeah,
across. It
I
was across the pond. I didn't
didn't
catch
even
it.
know what was happening
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
time.
Talk about their advertising crew, like stuff like that. It makes me realize, like, you want to say that the boxing is back, and then you realize something like that happens, and you're like, whoa, it didn't change my day at all. I always think of that meme where it's Homer Simpson sleeping. You hear the news and he's still sleeping. Like that's basically everything that happens over this time. But other than what we saw on the internet, any takeaways, anything that you got from it, like. I guess Dillon Danis is a big old bitch, and shout out to Logan Paul for calling out Rey
They
Mysterio. So that's
both
gonna be a fun.
suck.
Yeah, that wasn't
Both
bad.
suck. I'm not gonna
Everyone was
give any of
disappointed.
my time to either of them. And Dylan Dennis, he's a
Fair enough.
clown, and Logan Paul is a fool.
Yeah, talk about hyping it up. Yeah, I mean, talk about hyping it up so much, talking all that shit, and he had all that stuff about his girl Dillon Danis, bringing out all the stuff about Logan Paul's fiance. And then, like I said, I mean, if you're gonna win it, that's fine. And he just played it on. Logan Paul did. He called Rey Mysterio. That's the only takeaway I got from it. He's just further pushing it on, pushing the character. You gotta respect it at the end of the day. That's the only part I'll say. But like I said, stealing people's money and putting on horrible shows, he'll continue to get away with it. He's a thief. He's a con artist. He's everything in between like that. Yeah, no more thoughts on that. No, like I said, I didn't really get anything to take away other than what we maybe saw on Twitter or whatever
Yeah.
social media platform. Pretty awful, I guess. Like I said, just all those shots you save for the security, Dylan Danis. Yeah, that was atrocious.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that was that. I got three more appetizers, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna rattle them off to you, and I'm gonna let you pick which one we deep dive into. How's that sound, Mikey guy?
Sounds fine.
Okay, cool. So number one, Kofi Kingston opens a library and digital center in Ghana. To be honest, that's basically it. That's that story right there. So we can kind of cross that off. To be honest, but
That's awesome.
shout out to Kofi Kingston. That's pretty cool. It's his home country of Ghana, opening up center, always paying it back, paying it forward. That's awesome. That's all you got to do.
We love it.
Yeah. Next one, Guitar Hero possibly making a comeback. I
Yeah.
mean, that's right there. Finally, Best Buy to stop selling DVDs and Walmart to stop selling physical copies of video games in 2024. So a major hit to a physical media collector like myself. Any which one we want to deep dive in on really quick, or are you set?
I mean, both of them are intriguing. I don't know. I mean, the Guitar Hero coming back is awesome.
Oh yeah,
If they
without a
did do
doubt.
that, that would be so dope. They could easily do that, and so many people would get it. And
Oh,
yeah,
without a doubt.
the physical, the discs, it's just not doesn't surprise me. Honestly, I'm a digital person myself. I get I get all my games digitally downloaded nowadays. I never really get a physical copy anymore, and it just seems like that's just how it is nowadays. I don't really have many physical movies, like they're all on my like Amazon account or something, because we just have them saved in there. It's just like I don't know. I feel like the physical those kind of copies nowadays are just not as sought out for.
Yeah, definitely got to be a niche guy like myself that, I mean, just went ahead. I'm looking right here. I don't want to give it all away, but if I just, all my DVDs are right next to me. Easy, little grasp away. That's a pain in the ass for a guy like myself. I haven't, to be honest, haven't really gone to Best Buy in a long while just because locally, the one that was by myself in the at my local mall, I think it's no longer there anymore. So that's been a pain in the ass. But Walmart having to drop it. I've been on the same side. I haven't bought a physical copy of a video game in a while, but I have a bunch of physical DVDs. The media is what I want, and I've said that time and time again. Where, these streaming services, they trick you. They put up something, but they can edit it. They can edit an episode. They can take away episodes. They have banned stuff somewhat somehow. So I'm really big into the physical copies of stuff. So taking that away in any sort of way, that can piss me off. And then I
Hmm.
guess we'll even comment on both. Just Guitar Hero coming back. Who wouldn't want that? And yes, exactly. Uh, so you're gonna have to re get the plastic guitars going now that it's on PS5 and Xbox and everything. What we'd be able to cross paths or whatever, get online. It'd be so much
Hmm.
easier. Oh, that's
That's
exciting. That's
so
awesome to hear.
true.
And that's I
Yeah.
again right in front of me are all my physical copies of Guitar Hero, basically one through whatever else on PS2. So that's exciting. That's exciting to hear. So that's basically that was the appetizers, but it's basically the rundown for that right
That'd
there.
be awesome. Please do that. Like, please bring Guitar Hero back. That'd be
Yes.
so cool.
Honestly, you hear all that hype about NCAA coming back. I would trade that all away for a new copy of Guitar Hero right now. Like, not even a chance. That was my shit. Like playing that got me like, that's just the timing and everything. I think that's what that was the practice for that. Video games aren't entirely bad. They teach you some stuff like that. Either way, gets the rhythm, get that going. Hey, can I play guitar? Fuck no, but I can get over 1,000,000 points on some score. Either way, rock and rolling here. Unfortunately, have to get to the NFL side of things, but yeah, like I said, you get to put your feet up. No Packers this week. You got some who the Packers playing this upcoming this ball game?
I'm not too sure, honestly.
Yeah, take a double check, and I'll go ahead and I'll maybe sift through what's left.
Oh, the
Oh man,
Broncos.
oh there you go. No, that's if it's. I think it might be in Denver, but either way, that might be not the
Have
worst game.
Aaron Jones back. Come on.
Yeah, there you go. And if I might, I might have to scream about the Bears tonight, if that's okay with you. Well, I'm not gonna scream. It's a little late, like I said. But yeah, let's just rip the band-aid off. Bears lose I mean, a winnable game. I hope that at least can be recognized in some sort of way. I think at some point in time, this game was winnable. At many points in time, the Bears could have even coming back, but Tyson eight special agent Tyson Bagent is what we're allowed to get. I mean, full disclosure, I'll get into what just the fun side. I guess what was our personal experience at halftime. We turned on SNL. This new SNL that just got not rebranded. This is the brand new one since the
Yeah, it
writer's
just
strike.
came back.
Yeah, so you guys had recorded it. You're like, yeah, let's see if anything's worthwhile. The only spoiler alert, the only thing was worth anything was Weekend Update like usual, but I digress. Which is actually what led to us. We wanted to laugh, so we went and turned the game back on. Like I said, this was at halftime. So yeah, SNL not getting any better. Football, Bears football, laughable as always. Just looking at performances, I kind of just, oh, Jesus Christ. Like I said, winnable that's the worst part. And that's what stings the most. That at certain points, even with Tyson Bagent in the game and him giving that Scully Roly fumble Ruski touchdown away, that if that doesn't happen, live in the world of ifs and buts and candies and nuts, that ball doesn't go become a fumble, the Bears still score, they win by one. Just saying. But that's not what happened at all. Bears didn't get DJ Moore involved early. Sloppy center play. Those snaps were god awful from one center to another. You gotta clean that up, my friend. But
Mm.
overall, I mean, even when Fields wasn't injured, he had a horrible day to start. I mean, like what 6 for 10? Maybe that's what he finished with, only a couple yards, and only towards the end did you finally get DJ Moore involved, and then he kind of gets banged up. He gets back into the game, but something to pay attention to maybe throughout the week. Fields goes down, most likely going to be out 3 to 6 weeks. More on that throughout the week. In comes Bagent, turns the ball over immediately, kills all the momentum, gives them everything. They end up scoring a touchdown. The Bears still end up scoring, but throws the game-ending INT later on, and yeah, that was that. I will only entertain this question for now, but I'm not really in that sort of way, and you can get your 2 cents on it as well after I throw it out there. But how many games, how many wins before the Bears need to have a serious conversation about let Bagent become the starter? He can win every single game that I think he's in. I believe they would still need to put Fields in as soon as he's healthy. The Bears need to see a healthy Fields finish the year and decide if he is the guy or not. And I know even with this sample size, you can sit there and say that he's not, or you can decide that he is, whatever you would like to do. But there is this time and whatever's left, whatever he's gonna have Fields when he gets back, that needs to be the what's left to make sure that he is the guy or not. So again, if Tyson Bagent, wish you all the best, but what would be his ceiling? I don't know. He might just be a decent backup. That's it. Like there's no way. I'm sorry. Nice good things just don't happen to the Bears. That's just how it be. There's no way this guy is another Brock Purdy. There's no effing way that happens again. And I don't know why I fucking censored myself. We're on YouTube. I can just sit here and say whatever the fuck I want, but that's just the way that it feels. It's the Bears just got me frustrated. It's unbelievable. Like I said, the Chicago Sun Times that got everybody hip hopping on Twitter. The complete overreaction. Just even in the small print, and hopefully it was maybe just a joke, but I'm pretty sure the Sun Times printed it out. He's like, at the very least, it was fun to watch and a loss. I'm like, what are you talking about? How are you actually gonna print that?
That was
Uh,
fun. It'll
yeah,
watch.
exactly. I'm paraphrasing, I'm sure, but it was basically along the lines of that. Regardless, like I said, he can win every single game that he's in, whether it's 3 or 6. Fields needs to be in at the end of the season just to solidify whether or not he is the guy. Because then you got Tyson Bagent the rest of his rookie contract. Then you're already looking at. I mean, Jesus Christ. I'll try and wrap it up, but at this pace, where the Bears are on the same win pace as last year, maybe 3 wins, 4 at the most. If you continue this
Oh,
1-5 stretch, like you got to look at the facts. So he's not gonna. Tyson Bagent is gonna be the savior that brings the Bears out and puts them in contention. At best, the Bears aren't gonna finish 11-5. They're already 1-5. So it's just being realistic. Their bye week isn't here anytime soon. Doom and gloom, pretty brutal. At least Deontay Foreman was okay across the way. DJ Moore was good when they actually looked at him. And that was that. Just super disappointing again because the Vikings showed that without Justin Jefferson, there's nothing. There's nothing on that fucking team. There's nothing of interest, nothing of note. Kirk Cousins is mediocre. Everything about that squad is mediocre. So hurts. It definitely hurts that ball game had to end like that. Anything for you on this ball game in general? Just watching the Bears game in general. Anything?
It was a rough game, to say the least. I had a little bet on the Bears responsible,
Responsibly,
and
yes.
they cooked up. I mean, I mean, they played well sometimes, but they just got cooked this game. I mean, that fumble and the interception and Fields going out of the game, unfortunately, and yeah, just not using their key players most of the time.
Yeah,
It's
I just don't know why the Bears saw what they did these past two games and like, okay, that was good. Let's go back to what we were doing and what wasn't working. And that was constantly throwing screens and running on third and long. It was very not targeting DJ Moore until the middle of the third quarter. Very, very dumb what the Bears decided to do. I that's
yeah, I mean,
play calling and then not having Fields for sure a factor in that. But like I said, him even in the game was having a terrible time. So I really don't know what to make of it. It's beyond rough right now. Looking
the
forward,
Bears D
yeah,
line horrible.
yeah,
There's never pressure on Kirk Cousins. He has someone in the pocket the whole game, able to get passes to KJ Osborne, Jordan Addison, and shit, and just carve them up because he had so much damn time.
yeah.
It's
Between
just
that,
there's just a problem with the Bears.
yeah, they can't get any pressure on anybody or anything. It's definitely frustrating. Like, just, yeah, I mean, these guys had mediocre games somewhat, but it's just I can't stand it. The Bears can't do anything right at this point in time. Yeah, I wish there was some sort of bright spot. I really can't point it out right now. Maybe in a little bit of time, maybe sometime. But I don't know. Winnable games are still on the table, but there's gonna be far and few in between coming up. I mean, at this rate, those line games, they're not splitting. The Lions are gonna beat the Bears both times. The Raiders this week, but Tyson Bagent versus Aiden O'Connell. Holy shit. Yeah, whatever. We got to get on to some more ball games. Don't need to sit here and linger on the Bears too much longer. I'll be getting to them on Friday for sure. Uh, you get on that? We can get to the rest of
Yeah,
week 6. Coolio. Yeah, just we'll run through to our usual couple of words on the game if we want to deep dive. But there's for sure a couple of games, couple of questions I want to throw around and focus on. So we'll do exactly that. Ravens to get the win across the pond against the Titans, 24-16. International unders, honestly, unders this week were. I think I heard something. I did not confirm it, so don't take my word completely for it. I heard that the unders across the board cashed like 12 2-2 this week, something ridiculous. Like,
wow.
yeah, yeah. So if you were just blindly betting unders, you made a little bit of dough this week, most likely. Uh, yeah. Anything on this game across the pond? Derrick Henry, a solid one. Just the Ravens for sure needed this.
Yeah. Tannehill leaving the game just
Oh yeah.
completely took them out of it, and they need to get Hopkins the ball more, and I have him in fantasy, so
I
figure
mean,
that
yeah.
out.
Even with like not even like worrying about that, they definitely need to get him involved because it's like Treylon Burks is not there. Couldn't name another soul on another receiver on there. To be honest, for the Titans, that isn't DeAndre Hopkins. You're for sure right.
I think your star receivers way.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Commanders, actually the same exact score. Commanders 24, Falcons 16. Sam Howell just continues to impress, continues to just control the ball and just win ball games, honestly. I wouldn't, again, not going to say that the Commanders are contenders or any sort of chance, but Sam Howell just looks pretty decent. Any thoughts on this ball game?
Um, I, d- I honestly didn't see too. I didn't even know who won that game, honestly. But good on them, man.
Yeah,
That's
for Desmond Ritter's first loss at home.
wow.
Ever. I think ever. First time ever between college and pro and the pros. Let's see. Seahawks 13, Bengals get the win 13, excuse me. Not a dominant performance, but an important win for sure for the Bengals. Is this where they start to pick it up after this? They got their bye week this week. Do they start to pick it up after this now? Let me take a gander at the rest of their schedule. What are you thinking about? What were your thoughts on this game?
Um, just think the Bengals are starting to get things going finally, and the Seahawks are a decent team, but they're just yeah, they just weren't able to get it done this game. I mean, DK Metcalf didn't get as involved as he should have. Geno Smith not finding him certain plays when he's wide open. And it was just a tough game for the Seahawks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like they're still in that little bit of the realm where they're kind of just kind of a wild card team are the Seahawks. The Bengals upcoming schedule after their bye week. Two big ones right out of the gate. Niners on the road, then they get the Bills at home.
Oh
Texans,
man.
yeah, Texans, and then two divisional games, Ravens, Steelers, Jags. Oh man, it just they're 3-3 right now. They're gonna have to do some work. They're gonna have to do anything to just maintain even being 500 at this point. But a lighter last 5 games besides one. Uh, last 5 games will be the Colts, the Colts, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Chiefs. That was the one game that's going to be really tough. Obviously, still towards the end of the season, so anything can happen. And then the Browns are their final game. So, oh man, a lot of
That's a
toss ups, a
tough
lot of for
road.
sure, yeah, a lot of like must wins throughout that board for sure. And honestly, even that Texans game, it's not an easy, not it can't really chalk that up as a dub because they've been playing pretty well. I'm jumping the gate, but they beat the Saints, and like I said, CJ Stroud just continues to impress. Uh,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So Bengals looking like they need to get going a lot. Pretty tough schedule still on their way out. At least in this next chunk of their next 5-6 games. If we're good on that, we have the Jags and the Colts. Jags get a 37-20 win at home, winning in London, turning around, winning at home. I mean, what's the difference for them at this point? Travis Etienne Jr. had a pretty solid game, but Trevor Lawrence goes out with a knee injury. That short turnaround. They have a Thursday night game against the Saints. I don't know how that's going to be shaping up. I think he's on track to play, but we'll see how that goes. Either way, Gardner Minshew, I believe, had to throw 55 times. That's not going to be a winning ball games for the Colts in that sort of way. But I guess
No.
helped out a couple people fantasy wise, couple receivers, but ultimately makes sense that the Jags get this win, and they're just going to try and make sure that they take control of that division. Any thoughts on this game?
Um, yeah, the Jags are a very good team this year. I mean, I love their offense. They've got a lot of weapons on there. Etienne and Kirk and Ridley's great in there.
And yeah,
And
Evan Ingram as well.
yeah, I mean they've got very good offense, and defense could obviously use some work, as no team is perfect, but I like what they got going over there, and I mean they'll be a good team this whole year. Whatever team they play, I think they'll be able to fight.
Some solid wins. They get both of those wins against the Colts, I believe. A big win last week. Two wins in London. They're looking pretty good. One of them against the Bills. And that's kind of a mulligan. We get. I mean, we already talked about that last week, but
Yeah,
just those flights across the pond. Those can mess with you. Either way, Dolphins, Panthers. If you're good on the Jags and Colts, Dolphins, Panthers, 42-21. These offensive numbers for the Dolphins are absolutely insane. From what the team is producing to what individuals are doing. Mostert has 11 total touchdowns. Tyreek Hill is 60 yards short of 1,000 yards. It's week 6, going on week 7. And they're averaging 32, just around 32 points a game, and that's on pace to break the current most points scored in a season. I'll make sure to just double check that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. He had and then another one for Tyreek Hill. He had 163 yards in week 6. He is now let's see, his 12th career game with 150 yards receiving and a touchdown. That is tied with Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson for the third most with such games for a player in his first
Wow.
8 seasons. That's crazy. And going in, like I said earlier, going into this week, Mostert was tied for Christian McCaffrey with 8 total touchdowns on the year. Christian McCaffrey had one. He had a receiving touchdown before he went down. But Mostert had 3. Mostert had 3 total touchdown with Devon Achane out. Again, he joined a pretty good list of having 11 total touchdowns before week 6, like joining Priest Holmes, LaDainian Tomlinson. There's a couple other names on that board. So pretty good company to be in. Overall, if you're keeping up with this, the Dolphins are on pace to take care of that AFC East. A lot of people are liking them to take the AFC in general. That Germany game, that international game, is going to be pretty important between the Dolphins and the Chiefs in a couple weeks from time now. Besides that, I mean, that they're looking crazy, and then having Tua and even Tyreek Hill considerations for MVP. I know Tua's probably going to get it with all the extra yards on top of it, but just you need to throw those guys' names out there for sure. I don't know. Enough dick riding on the Dolphins. Any thoughts on them?
They're unstoppable from what it seems like,
Yeah,
except for
that's a
the
nice way
Bills
of putting
game.
it.
But the Bills had their number a couple
That's
weeks
true.
ago, but
That is true.
I mean they've been wrecking teams every week, and they just look like they can't be. I mean they're one of the best teams in the AFC for sure. So
Mhm.
it'll be a fight in that conference, but they're one of the better teams. I can't wait to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, I think
They
they're
have
currently,
good
depending on what
squad.
sports book you're looking at, they might be second to win the AFC, just behind the Chiefs still. But yeah, no, that's the AFC is pretty tight right now. If you're
Oh
good on
yeah,
that game, yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, Panthers just keep losing, baby. Bears are gonna keep getting that the draft pick. No real thoughts on that.
they suck.
I think they said that Frank Reich is now he's handing over play calls to somebody else. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, I think the only person that's not going to like that, and the Fantasy Footballers podcast made fun of it, was Adam Thielen. He's probably not going to like that because he's going crazy right now. He's probably good, like a top 10 receiver, depending on your scoring in fantasy leagues right now.
Yeah,
I'll
he's been
double,
great.
yeah, we'll double check later on because fucking Sebastian, the fucking balls on him. He played him, and it turned out well. Let's see. Going on, one of the bigger upsets on the week, Browns Niners. Browns getting the 19-17
Hmm.
victory. Does Purdy get a pass after losing 2 of his top options in Christian
No.
McCaffrey and Debo, or you hitting the panic button? Sounds like you're hitting that panic button.
Ugh. I just I don't know. Maybe it shows that finally is he as good as he is without stars around him, or gonna get cooked now every week if they're
I'm willing to
so.
give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. One, you lose your top guys in a pretty, the Browns are nothing to sneeze at. The offense is a little brutal, but that defense is legit. Myles Garrett is playing out of his mind just about every single play, and he needs to keep the Browns in contention. And that just seems to be the way that it is. I don't know. Like I said, playing on the road, it's a tough go. It's a tough ask. I know they can maybe get get Debo and McCaffrey back, but yeah, you need to look at Kittle. He needs to somehow some way get involved a
Yeah.
little bit more. I think he only had a catch for 4 yards or something like that. Uh, and I
It's
don't know.
horrible.
I don't remember how Brandon Ayuk was, but I think he was probably targeted. Just needs to get a little bit. And then I guess Ray McLeod, if he's still out there. Gonna have to get him involved somehow, some way. Just they get an extra day. They're playing Monday night, so maybe some if you got them in fantasy like I do, it's some like I said, some sort of chance that they get an extra boost out of that extra day of break. But yeah, it's a tough ask. I with Purdy, like I said, I'm not willing to overreact just yet. I want to give him a little bit of time. Ah, and then yeah, I don't know how long that leash is if he does keep continue to screw up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's done very well since he's
Yeah.
been playing. This was his first regular season loss, so
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Absolutely.
we'll see what happens, but
Like I said, I think a Browns defense is pretty legit. So I'm pulling it back a little bit. I forgot who they have coming up, but we'll have to see about that one. Next one, like I said, all right, nothing too much on this one. Saints, Texans. Texans get a 20-13 win. Just glad to see that some Ohio State quarterback has figured out how to win ball games in the NFL. So shout out to CJ Stroud. Any thoughts on that game?
CJ Stroud is the real deal.
Continues to
Best
impress for sure,
cornerback in the draft.
without a doubt. Raiders, Patriots. I heard that in place of solitary confinement, some local prisons were actually airing this game for violent inmates.
Mm.
Those 25 to lifers. Forcing people to watch Mac Jones, I think, is far more torturous than having them sit in isolation and just sit there with their thoughts for 30 days. Yeah, so that's all I really have to say about this game. 21-17 victory for the Raiders. If you had to watch that game, oh man, that's brutal. I like when Tony Romo just straight up was like, "Man, that's just an awful throw by Mac Jones. He is an awful quarterback. No other way of saying it." Any thoughts on this ball game?
Patriots bad and Raiders get the job done.
Yeah, without Jimmy Garoppolo, for what it's worth, they got to throw Brian Hoyer in there.
That's
Uh,
yeah, that's horrible.
let's see here. We got the Lions and the Buccaneers. Lions getting a 20-6 victory. And I'm gonna say this now, maybe. So I'm sure a couple other people have too, but the Lions are far better than the Eagles right now. Just straight up. If they played right now, if the Eagles and the Lions played right now, I would have just with the utmost confidence, I would say the Lions would beat them probably 9 times out of 10 at this point. I'm still gonna put the Niners over the Lions, even with a couple injuries, but still, the Lions. I brought this up last week. I brought this up when we were over at your place. The Lions are contenders. This is what it is. So that after that game, I know they the Buccaneers are of the Buccaneers, but the Lions were in control all game long. They have already beaten the Chiefs on the road. They lost a track meet between the Seahawks and themselves in a dome. That's gonna happen. Sure, you let one slip. That's gonna happen. Uh, I would say that loss is far less in like the other losses that these other NFC squads are far worse. Like the Cowboys losing to the Cardinals, bad. The Eagles losing to the Jets this week, bad. Then the Niners losing to the Browns this week, far worse than the Seahawks getting one over the Lions. That's all I'm really saying on that. Lions are taking care of ball games. They're winning by a lot. And yeah, that offense is humming. Even in a couple injuries there here and there too. You got to get Jahmyr Gibbs back. David Montgomery might be out for a little bit, but they're looking ready to roll. I full 180 from my take at the beginning of the season. The Lions are the real deal. For me, second in the NFC. Any thoughts on this ball game? Any thoughts on them in general?
Yeah, the Lions are looking very solid this year. I was talking about this with some coworkers today. I mean, yeah, they would probably beat the Eagles after that game with the Jets too. I mean, Lions look like they are just fight. They want it more than other teams. Dan Campbell should win Coach of the Year this year for finally, and they just are
I
great.
want to bite some kneecaps for him. He's getting me fucking fired up, man.
Yeah, I see a post game like video of him after every game. I feel like of him talking to the team, like hyping them up even before. Just, I mean, he just seems like such a great coach, and the Lions are playing up to his standards. They
Oh,
look
without a
great.
doubt.
I mean, they look great, even as we're the same division, but they're one of the best teams right now.
Yeah, it's tough to compliment them, but honestly, you gotta tip your cap when they're playing good ball. They're playing good ball, taking care more than taking care of the Panthers. Like that was one of those things. Like the Eagles aren't getting these big dominant wins by a ton of points. They might be beating the tar out of them on the field, but on the scoreboard, it's still 10, 12, 15 point wins. You need to see those wins like the Panther, like the Lions were getting over the Panthers, like 42-21, 42, 48-24, something like that.
And yeah, my brother said a good thing today. He's like, do you really want to be known for the brotherly shove? Like that's what they always have. They're always 4th and 1, having to push for 1 yard. You can't just get the yards or get a touchdown, or like you just always have to fight for it on the last. Like I don't know. Like you said, they can't just destroy teams like these other teams are doing. This is always are in these spots where they have to.
Yeah, I mean they're good at playing their brand of football, but it's beatable. It's very beatable. I mean, I think, like I said, the way that the Lions are moving the ball, I don't think they would be able to fall in that same trap. And yeah, I mean, you could say Eagles could they could keep up. I mean, AJ Brown going crazy. I mean, he's had 4 straight games with 125 yards or something like that.
Hmm.
They're still looking good, but it's just they don't dominate games. They win. The wins are they're just as equal if you beat them by 1 or if you beat them by 100, but they're just not as dominant. That's might be frustrating. It's been something I've been keying in every single week. I don't get it. That's what makes me think, like I said, the Lions might have the leg up in a couple other situations. But I mean, exactly that kind of talking just Jets and Eagles. Just, I mean, this is what happens when you play around with your food, Philly. Like you get bit. Jets defense is
Hmm.
legit. They're gonna win them ball games. I mean, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I not expect the Jets to win the way they did,
Yeah, Zach
and
Wilson looking nice.
it seems like deal that game and getting picked off. It's just it was crazy. It's such a turnaround for the Jets, and they're also a team that's gonna fight. It seems down and out, but they're fucking fighting, and maybe Aaron Rodgers does come back this year actually, and
Oh yeah,
helps them make a playoff
he
run.
was walking
So
around. That was the big thing. That was the big what everyone was talking about. Well, Achilles injuries. I mean, I guess the doctor who's doing it was like, he has a
I
new
guess they would
way of
just need
doing
him
it.
back for next year, even. But if
That's
he's
what
back
that's what
in
a lot of
time
radio
for the
stations were
playoffs, that's
talking
all
about
they
today
need.
too. It's like, even if they do get to a playoff situation or get to like week 16, do you throw him in there and also risk re-injuring him that late in the season as well? It's a tough ask. I don't know.
That's
I'm
true.
glad I don't have to
Yeah,
make that situation or make that decision,
that's a
or be the
very
fan.
good
Yeah,
point.
or be a fan base that has to worry about that. Moving on, couple other games to wrap up with. Rams 26, Cardinals 9. Cooper Cup is back. That's basically it. Anything on that one?
Yeah, they have a very good offense with him and Puka,
Yeah.
and Stafford can facilitate the ball, and they
And
just cooked them up.
and
So
I hope it's not an overreaction just because the Rams play the Cardinals, but the Rams are looking okay. Just put them in put them in on watch, not put them in front of you like, oh man, for sure NFC this, that, the other wild card. But no, that's exactly that. They can sneak into a wild card spot, see what the Seahawks are up to, see if the Packers can turn around and flip something into the works. Because like I said, I mean, Saints could do something. I don't know. It's disgusting. The NFC is gross. Uh, Bills Giant going to in the last two primetime games. Bills 14, Giants 9. I mean,
Ugh,
I'm not crying ref ball. It honestly just was a bit at the beginning of my intro. I wouldn't bet the Giants in any regard ever. Like, shame on you if you do. Like, that is crazy.
I'm
Uh,
crying ref ball.
But I mean, that
Darren
was
Waller
egregious.
was clearly
Yes.
getting held
Yes.
on
Those,
that play.
yeah. The late roughing the passer calls
And
for the
it's
Bills.
ridiculous that we live in this era and there can't be someone up like to be like that wasn't right. Like I
Yeah.
just hate like that they just like it's just like, oh, the ref missed it, but it continues on. Like what do you there can't be somebody that's like it should be like WWE where someone runs out, like Teddy Long should come out and be like, hold on
Hold on a
now,
minute, player.
player.
Hold on a minute, player.
He was holding his jersey. That's being replayed. Oh my god.
And the Undertaker is now your tight end. Yeah, so
Yeah, the
that is a
ref
pretty
that
good
missed
point.
the call. You're going one on one with the Undertaker.
Hold on a minute, player.
Oh,
That's good. Or
that's
like, yeah, if you did that with like the new Seth Rollins gimmick now, he's like, oh, hold on, wait a minute, wait a second.
I'm back here.
I hate football every week. I hate Seth Rollins.
I
Yeah,
hate football.
yeah. That was egregious. That was gross. I mean, I did like that other thing. It was just like the NFL needed to step in after the 49ers and the Eagles lost. They couldn't have the Bills also lose all in the same night. So they had to go in and play some rough ball. And I don't mean to, don't mean to make crack wise about this, but a missed opportunity to not call the ambulance the DeMar ambulance.
Why?
I'm sorry. But I mean, isn't that the craziest thing? I mean, it's again plastered all over the internet, but that's insane to have your number on the
Yeah, I
back of the
don't know
ambulance.
why they did that.
That is ridiculous. I mean, I get it. I somewhat, but man, to just sit there and be
No.
like, remember when he died every single time? Like, oh my, like, come on, man. Can we have
Whenever they're
5 minutes?
helping someone off that field.
Yeah. This is our escape from everything. And it's just we need to be constantly reminded of reality between the DeMar ambulance and the end racism stuff that's plastered all over. But I'm just like, God damn, can we just and then Taylor Swift there too now, but can we just enjoy netball?
Now
Whatever.
we got bad.
Yeah, now we got bad blood for sure.
Now we got prop.
But the shout out to Damian Harris. It looks like he's okay. I mean, he'll be back on the field soon. Uh Finally Monday night, this was a shit show. I mean, Cowboys get the win. Someone had to somewhat, some way, somehow. 20-17 over the Chargers.
Horrible game.
Yeah, if you had the over, if there aren't holes in your wall, I applaud you. I tip my cap. So many points left on the board there. Nothing from these teams was you weren't able to get anything positive from anything from the squad. I had nothing in this game other than a few props, but I was still just frustrated watching this game. Herbert overall awful. Couple redeemable things for Dak Prescott. He had that rushing touchdown and a couple passes. Tony Pollard had a decent game in PPR, but overall, just yeah, nothing really to take away from that game. More and more primetime unders. That's basically it. Any thoughts?
Boring game. Austin Eckler doesn't really do much this game. I was excited for him to come back. And Cowboys just barely get a win here.
Yeah,
Off
barely
of
scraping out
off
a
of a
win.
Tony Pollard run, essentially.
Yeah, that big 60-yard reception
Or
towards the
yeah, the
end.
reception.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, there was points all over the board. There was, turning it over on downs when they're pretty close. Both squads doing that in that case. It was the highest over under on the week, around 50 points. But again, that's
Wow.
still, yeah, it's still like tough. It's still tough to see that. Let's see, just rolling through fine. That was all the games, just rolling through anything we might not have touched upon. Anthony Richardson most likely going to be out for the season for the Colts. That's a tough ask. I heard again something just I heard in passing might not be true. I heard he heard from 5 different opinions, 5 different doctors on this just to make sure. I mean, I get it. This is gonna be your franchise quarterback, but that just sounds reading that headline, that could be a little cartoony. But again, you just gotta read into the situation and understand like this is gonna be their guy for the future, and you want to get the best opinion. So it makes some sense. We got Julio Jones signing with the Eagles, and then of course again with Justin Fields most likely out for some time. Bears signing Trace McSorley to the practice squad. Any final thoughts lingering on maybe just that we touched on? Anything with the game? Anything else in the NFL for you?
Um, no, Julio gets a chance and a new really good offense, so see what he can do.
Yeah, let's see if the Eagles can start dominating like we were talking about. Let's see. We got our fantasy football league. Before we touch upon that really quick, I'm gonna say shout out to Troy. Send me his phone call. We're gonna get to that on Friday, my dude. We're gonna get to that on Friday. Uh, just makes the most sense considering that you're gonna talk about college football the day before college football happens. So maybe if so facto, like I said, maybe hopefully that makes some sense. You got a good rant, so like I said, be sure to tune in Friday for Troy's rant on Kentucky football and a couple other things coming up in the
Oh
Kentucky
no.
realm. I know the college basketball, the AP poll just was released, and I know the Kentucky, of course, is in there. So right around mid-teens, not usually where they are. So maybe some thoughts on that game on that as well. Be sure to tune in Friday. Probably, like I said, maybe like this my one around my. We'll see. I'll see. I'll have to bounce around what segment it is, but yeah, we'll see. Troy's phone call coming to you on Friday. Before we get into that, anything that's all done. Ready for some fantasy, my guy?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Let me go ahead and pull up the fantasy app. Uh yeah, this was a fun week, interesting week all around. Like we said, just talked about all the games. Tons of upsets, some pretty decent scoring. Uh Touchdowns, yeah, like I said, I guess would be far and few in between with the way that unders happen. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Did you want to go ahead and talk about your game between you and AJ, or do you want me to talk about me and Alan?
Uh, oh, you want to do yours first? That's cool.
Yeah, I'll step in really quick. Couple injuries on both sides, but I was able to get the win, 146 to 101. Uh, like I said, my running backs were able to help me and score away. Christian McCaffrey still going down around halftime, around the third quarter, but still scoring a touchdown early. Travis Etienne had 2 scores, and Kenneth Walker had a touchdown. And welcome back, the Sun God, Amon St. Brown, 31 on the day. I wish that Josh Reynolds or Craig Reynolds, one of the Reynolds, whoever laid down that key block, that was the reason that Amon St. Brown scored that touchdown. I wish that some points could go to him for that, but they don't. So they go to Amon St. Brown. So thank you very much for that key block and a touchdown right there for my guy. I'm enjoying that. Overall, I I think we both played optimized lineups just about. I could have maybe threw in another person and got a couple more scores, but nothing too crazy. It is Josh Reynolds. That's who laid down the block. That's who Allen has in his on the bench. But yeah, he Fields goes down for Allen around halftime, around the third quarter. So he only getting 4 points from Justin Fields. David Montgomery also suffers an injury. I mean, I didn't leave unscathed. Like I said, McCaffrey went down around halftime, and then Debo only had 9 snaps. He finished with 11 rushing yards. That was all of his 1.1 points. Uh, yeah, I was either way, that looked okay. Able to get out there with a win, and maybe able to take the number 1 spot once again. 5-1 on the year, 146-101 the final. Anything on that ball game?
Um, yeah, you were. Oops, hang on. It just switched for some reason. Yeah, it was a pretty big win for you. Allen had to deal with some fucking injuries this game, and you also did too. So, but your team just put up way more points. Etienne had a big night with St. Brown, like you were saying, and yeah, just Allen with Fields going down and Montgomery. I mean, two of his top guys. And then, yeah, McCaffrey going down for you and Debo. But McCaffrey was able to get that touchdown at least before he leaves the game. So that's good. But all in all, with even Allen had Kelsey with a decent game. Olave had the touchdown. But Pollard had big points, but it's just not enough. Just win by 45. So
Yeah,
big game.
I was sitting there. I'm like, it wasn't the exact strategy having Stafford. I just figured he wouldn't have a nice game anyways. But if he did throw a touchdown to Nakua, it would be a wash. So that was the game plan there. Yeah, overall, just glad nothing too crazy. 31 from Amon St. Brown, but that kind of gets halfway negated with Debo getting 1.1. So overall, kind of averaging like 15, basically with everyone scoring like that. That's nice. And like I said, yeah, you already mentioned it. Kelsey had a good game on Thursday. He got a little bit of a head start out there on Thursday night, but able to turn around and get the win. That's what we all wanted right there. At least for me. So if you're good on that, we can go on to your game between you and AJ if you're all set.
Yeah. Oh, this was a rough week for me. AJ was able to get the win here. Josh Allen didn't have a very good game, 16, and Kamara, he continues to do well for me. Eckler, not so well when his return. Stephon Diggs continued to be great, and Metcalf was all right,
He was
but
the only one that was targeted in the first quarter, first half. I just just so you know.
wow,
They were solely targeting Stephon Diggs. It's crazy.
good.
Oh
I
yeah,
should,
yeah, absolutely. I think
I
he
should
finished
give it
with
to him all the time.
I think targeted like 12 times in the first half, finished with 16 targets on the night. Pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kittle had 1 point, and DeAndre Hopkins had 3, and my kicker had 1. So that doesn't help. AJ's team did all right, but just did better than mine. Justin Tucker getting him 18 points.
He
That's a
stole
big
your kicker's
difference.
Juju. That was your that's his full whole
Yeah.
gimmick, scoring like 15 points. But I mean, Justin Tucker might be the best kicker of all time. We'll still put a pin on that.
Mm-hmm. It's those 17 points are big time difference.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, Henry did good and Swift. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like everyone else did was all right. My team was so bad this week. So I was hyping them up and I just get wrecked. Hopefully I can bounce back this upcoming week.
Yeah, definitely.
GG's to you, AJ, man.
There you
Cooked
go.
me up.
Yeah, no, shit happens like that for sure. I mean, not a disappointing one for Adams. I think he got popped and just wasn't really in the game all too much. Good game for Derrick Henry across the pond. He only had 12 attempts, but I think it was like a 60-yard carry and then a 15-yard rushing touchdown for him. That was the meat and potatoes of his day. But just on your side, on the plus side, Kamara continues to be consistent right around. I mean, it seems like he hasn't scored. Yeah, he's averaging 19 points in his in his 3 games since coming back. That's pretty decent. And don't get down on Eckler playing the Cowboys. It's a tough ask on your first game coming back. And he also got popped in the beginning of the game. They had a little bit of a scuffle. I don't know if I'm pretty sure you saw that.
I did see that.
Yeah, so I don't know, that would have been concerning for me. I have him in another league for my brother. I was like, so, are you kidding me? Are we just gonna y'all just gonna let Eckler get popped like that? Come on, Will Clapp, get in there and fight somebody, you big bitch. Yeah. So
Oh,
sometimes you just gotta chalk it up and just tip your cap. Yeah, it just shit happens. If you're good on that, the 127-105 victory for AJ, and he slides into the number 2 spot in the rankings.
wow.
Yeah. We can go ahead and talk Sebastian's 160 to 129 victory over Dom, or we can go to I don't know. Let's finish. Yeah, let's finish with the closer one right there between Pete and Ivan. If you're cool with that, we can go to Sebastian and Dom. Sound good? You hear me?
Yeah, yeah, it was cutting out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I had to flip flop to different Wi-Fi's. Either way, we'll keep wrapping it. We'll keep going. 160 to 129 victory for Sebastian. Like I was saying, just looking across, that hook continues to be nice, even with the downside of the scoring between that Monday night game. Still 22 and 21 for Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, respectively. Tyreek Hill, 29 points. Hey, how you doing? And Adam Thielen, like I said, the fucking balls on Sebastian to play. So Adam Thielen, and he gets 30 points. So there you go. You deserve that. On the flip side, did what he could. CD Lamb having 19, a good bounce back game for him, a good and even a good play, a good pickup and play for Dom. He was needing some running back help, and he got some from Chuba Hubbard. It's pretty good on the yardage and scoring a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, a down game. Shit happens on a Thursday night. And then, yeah, maybe a couple of Harrison Butker with 17. That definitely helped you too. But also another good pickup by Sebastian, 16 points for the Chiefs defense.
Hmm.
Could have been a little bit closer, I'm sure, on both sides, but it is what it is. Once actually not really not we were talking about this last week, the injuries and bye weeks galore for Dom, not really much he could have pivoted to. This was about the best of his lineup could have been anyways. So it's a tough ask. Sebastian scoring a ton of points every single week. That's just the way that it is. Any final thoughts in this game?
Um, Dom made the good move with Hubbard, but it just wasn't enough. Sebastian's team plays well per usual. He's 3-3 now, and he has a very good team. I think Sebastian has a very good team. He'll be fighting in every game.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
this was a good one here. Just I mean, yeah, just Tyreek Hill and Adam Thielen cooking for Sebastian. That helps a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you get 60 between those two, again, that's crazy that Adam Thielen and Tyreek Hill were within point 0.3 points of each other this week in scoring. That bonkers.
That's
I'm
wild.
halfway speechless. To wrap this up, to finish up our week 6 preview from fantasy, 149 147 victory for the Cocaine Cowboys for Stinky Pete over Ivan. This was the closest game for our fantasy league, excuse me. I don't recall, it might have come down to the afternoon games if I'm not for sure. And yeah, it doesn't really seem like anyone had anyone going
It came
later
down to
on.
AJ Brown, and I think it was AJ Brown, wasn't it? No.
Yeah. There was something. Oh, it was pretty late. Jalen Hurts had thrown that interception, and then
Yeah, that's
it
what
was
it
also they
was.
also had the Eagles defense. Yes, Ivan having AJ Brown. There was a huge thing. Like I said, it could have been if it had Jalen Hurts not thrown that interception, he probably could have had a couple more. Even gone on that game-winning drive. Who knows? But that's just how
But
how
Pete
it
was
is.
winning 152 to 147. He threw that interception and it dropped Pete to 149.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
just crazy. It made it that 2 point game. It's just so close.
Yes. But a huge game from Raheem Mostert. Talked about this earlier when we were breaking down games. 120 total yards from scrimmage plus 3 total touchdowns. Cooper Kupp having a big game as well. 20 points, 28 points, excuse me. 18 from Waddle, 20 from Pittman. That seemed to be enough from there. Kyron Williams for Ivan has 22. He's going to be out this week, so watch out for that. AJ Brown, 21 points. And okay from the Bengals squad, 14 and 16 from Burrow, not too good from Mixon, only 9. Mari Cooper having 14. This was close. This was as close as it's gonna get for ball games. Exciting, and like I said, exciting when it came down to the situation that it did.
Yeah,
There
that's
we
when
go.
fantasy gets at its best.
turns
When
a
it's
turns a
those
nothing game or what something that we casuals wouldn't really into, something that we probably wouldn't really pay attention to all too much, like the Eagles Jets. Who cares, like I said, unless you're gambling on it. But yeah, that made that game very much exciting. If you're good on that, we can focus on our week 7 preview of what's going on. How's that sound?
yeah.
All right, coolio. I'll just run through right now between me and AJ.
Yeah.
Uh I gotta look, just being honest, I gotta look and see how the injury reports are gonna go for Debo and McCaffrey. It helps and it hurts them going on Monday night. I might have to pivot. I might have to make a move. I might just have to bench one of them. Just for the sake of like knowing that I'm gonna have a healthy player in. So a little bit of mind games kind of sucks on my end, but it's just kind of have to deal with it. I have a couple players I feel like I can pivot to and not have to worry all too much. But benching a healthy Christian McCaffrey is gonna hurt. I feel like they're gonna say unless he's doubtful, unless they have that little D next to his name. I don't know. He might most likely just gonna have to be in my lineup. It's a tough ask.
Yeah,
Uh,
you can't. I mean, you just can't.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's so hard. I know. On the flip side, looking at AJ's squad, he still needs to make a move and at least I don't have to play against Derrick Henry. Thank you very much. He was on a little bit of not the best year, of course, but a little when he gets going, this is around the time he would probably be getting going. So glad I don't have to deal with that. Still have to deal with Swift and Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams, of course, playing against the Bears this week, so probably looking to torch the Bears up, score
Oh
some
God.
points. Lamar Jackson has to play against the Detroit Lions, so we'll see how that game goes. They're in Baltimore, so that gives them a little leg up there, I suppose. And the number one tight end going up against Sam Laporta. He's number 2 right now, but still up there in points. Sam Laporta and Saquon Barkley going up against those Commanders. I smell a pretty decent game for Saquon. Any thoughts on our ball game my ball game between myself and AJ? This is our
Back to back.
final matchups before we go around and get back to repeats to rematches. Just so you know, this is our last week like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry.
We're
Yeah.
already like that.
We gotta look for that trade deadline coming up. I don't know when that is. Either way, thoughts on this ball game?
Um, which was it? I just had a thought I was gonna say. Oh, you guys are both, it's a 1 and 2 seeds again going against each other back to
Yeah, I
back
had eight. Yeah,
weeks.
I
So
had Allen last week. He was the one. I was the 2. Now we're flip flopping, but I'm gonna try and hopefully keep that one spot. That's gonna be the goal for sure.
this will
Yeah,
be a one to keep an eye on.
absolutely, absolutely. With that being said, you want to go on to your matchup between you and Stinky Pete.
Yeah. Uh, I'm playing Pete this week. I'm 2-4. Pete's 3-3. Oh, uh, I've got a decent team on paper of Josh Allen, Kamara, Eckler, Stephon Diggs, DK, George Kittle, and then Jacoby Myers and Brian Robinson in the flex currently with some people on buys. But I mean, I like my team. It's just like there's not many changes I feel like I have to make to them. It's just if they're gonna perform like they need to during that week. And last week they just didn't play that well altogether. So hopefully this week they can cook it up and I can get a win this week because I need one bad.
Oh yeah. Looking at your squad as well as Pete's. Uh, oh, what was I just about to say? Yeah, if Debo and McCaffrey, if one of them doesn't go, if both of them don't go for somehow, some way, I would think Kittle's gonna have a bounce back game. I would hope that he has a decent little one for that game. I'd even look at his gambling props. That
Definitely.
would be someone I would for
But
sure
Pete's
be
got a
looking at.
good team. I mean, he's
Yeah.
Mostert,
Oh
Cooper
yeah.
Cup, Addy, Addison.
Yeah, most are going. I'll pull it back. I mean, I would just say they're playing against Philadelphia. It's a tough rush defense, but they're gonna still be relying on Mostert for sure. But man, I mean, Cooper Cup already back into full swing. Looks like he hasn't missed a beat. Uh, Playing against the Steelers. We'll see how that goes. The Steelers have been less than ideal on the defensive side, so that's just gonna have to be. And then again, just Cooper Cup is Cooper Cup. Like
Yeah.
that's just how it be. But I mean, you got a good counter. Your wide receivers are still stacked and ready to go as well. Uh, you got your hook between Allen and Diggs, but he might also does he? No, he doesn't. I feel like he always has his Philadelphia. I feel like he always has AJ Brown, but he did not this year. Uh, Either way, looking like a pretty solid matchup right there. Any final thoughts right there?
Good luck, Pete. Hopefully, I can beat you. That's my final thought.
Yeah, makes some sense. Did we want to touch upon AJ or Allen and Sebastian next, or did we want to do Ivan and Dom? Let's do.
Um,
Sorry, let's do Ivan and Dom really quick, just because Ivan still has all of his Bengals players currently in right now, so it'll be a little bit quicker to get to, as well as Kyron Williams, who's currently not scheduled to play, most likely. Uh, for the six active players that he does have in his lineup, AJ Brown looking pretty solid going up against Miami. That should be high scoring. Evan Ingram, Mari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk, and again, same deal. If either one, if Debo don't go, if McCaffrey and or don't go, Brandon Ayuk should have a pretty solid little day. Uh, on the flip side, Dom having a couple injuries as well. Khalil Herbert still in his lineup, unless he's just playing mind games with him. Could be doing that exact thing. Uh, but some bye weeks galore once again for Dom, losing out on Lamb, Collins, Miles Sanders, and Chuba Hubbard, who we just acquired. He's gonna have
oh
to
my
look for
God.
gonna have to look at Cam Akers and crossing his fingers that Aaron Jones comes back fully healthy and ready to go. But Patrick Mahomes against the Chargers defense, he should have a nice little game. I think again, bounce back situation, definitely more than his 18 that he got last week. Any thoughts on this game between Ivan and Dom?
Oh, this could be an interesting one. Both projected pretty low point. Even when Ivan puts new players in, it'll still be pretty same, maybe same around projections as Dom. Yeah. So, yeah, Dom's bye weeks are crazy. That's his whole bench is a bye week
This is a rough
basically,
stretch,
and
rough
he has
stretch for
two
sure for
people
Dom.
on his team and on IR right now.
Yeah,
That's that's rough, Dom. Yeah, you're gonna. Oh man, you were in a rough spot. I'm praying for you, man.
it's a tough ask for sure. Let's see. Final game to preview right here between Allen and Sebastian. 4-2 going up against 3-3. We got Jordan Love. I mean, that would be the move for sure, considering that Justin Fields is going to be out for some time for Allen. Yeah, I don't know about IR for Justin Fields, but then he just might be out for about 3 to 6 weeks. So something to deal with. He's got a couple bye week players. Uh, yeah, this is a big bye week for sure. I know this week, and then for sure for me, I mean, I might have taken all the players that are on bye in week 9. So week 9 is a big one too. Six teams are out on bye this week, including the Cowboys and the Bengals.
Wow.
They're no T Higgins, no Tony Pollard for Allen this week, and like I said, the injuries to David Montgomery and Fields. So slim pickings on who he can really start. His only other pivot spot would be Marvin Mims. So I don't know what he would want to do there. He's going with Olave, Josh Reynolds, Travis Kelce, Puka Nakua, DJ Moore, Gus Edwards, Deontay Foreman, Jordan Love, and his kicker and current defense of the Saints. On the flip side, Sebastian's going with Herbert, the hook right there between Herbert and Keenan Allen. His running backs are Josh Jacobs, Bijan Robinson, the killer in Tyreek Hill. I mean, not really, but just killer in fantasy. You don't do anything crazy. But Dallas Goedert out there as well. Can't get anything out of Adam Thielen. He's on a bye this week. Calvin Ridley, Tyler Bass, and the Chiefs defense. I'm smelling a high scoring one for sure. I know it's not a bold prediction considering Sebastian does score a lot of points every single week, but there's a lot of potential here. What are we thinking?
Um, Another fight per usual in our league. They both have very good, solid teams. I've always said Sebastian has a good team, and Allen's team is very good as well with Puka,
Always
the
sneaky.
waiver wire of the year, and Kelsey. I mean, yeah, DJ Moore, and he's got Jordan Love back in, done with. Oh, wait, I mean Fields is hurt anyway, and yeah,
Yeah.
Allen's has a decent amount of people on bye as well as Sebastian. So they'll make some changes before it comes down to Sunday, but should be a good one.
Ooh. Yeah, that's looking okay. I'm only reacting that way because I was checking the score of the ball game. 10-0 Phillies. Jesus Christ. Uh, yeah, if you were good on that, any final thoughts on fantasy, like we usually do, just our good luck to our opponents and everybody else in
Yeah, good
between.
luck to you all, man.
Yeah.
Let's have another good one, man.
Always want to fight. We want some scores. We want some, opposite of last week. All those unders, water's gonna find its balance. Hopefully we get some overs this week on the gambling side of things and just in fantasy. We want some points. God damn it. We want some points.
Yeah.
Uh let's see. If you're good on that, we can basically wrap it up with a quick little thoughts on the MLB. I know it's slim pickings. I mean, just thoughts on the postseason in general. I don't want to do the take of what everyone's saying. It's boring. It's this and that. If you're watching the games, they're fun. They're still exciting. It's a tough ask when it is currently a blowout right now, 10-0 blowout. But you can find some gems here and there. But shout out to Bryce Harper yesterday or 2 days from now after we post this tomorrow. He hit his happy birthday to him, and he hit a home run, cashing that prop the other day. So that was nice. Enjoyed that. Big one
That
on
was
you. Big
awesome.
one for you. Hell yeah. Uh, my little thing I was like, he's turning 31. I'll put $3.1 on it. Still cash. That's how we roll. We don't unit chain.
No, not
Yeah.
never.
Yeah. Either way, just yeah, that series has been boring for what it's worth. Again, maybe don't want to break my own arms jerking my own dick off over here, but uh, you know, one of my bold predictions actually did come true. Those number one seeds, both in the AL and in the NL, both got eliminated as soon as they got played a playoff series. Braves went down, Orioles got swept. And there you
Hmm.
are. Rangers haven't lost a game. Still playing. They're now going back to Arlington. Not a huge road trip going from Houston to Arlington. Still within the same state for the Astros and the Rangers. But that one's been a okay series. Got a little intriguing in game two, a 5-4 closer one than the other ones. Scherzer going in game three. Somewhat interesting. My thoughts on that one, as it'll be first pitch tomorrow. Not as immediately after we post this, but uh, he should be on a short leash. He should be on a short leash, I would think. Uh, hasn't played in a long time. If he does get banged up, just banged up really early on, I would think that they're gonna take him out, get someone in there like Dane Dunning or something like that. And it doesn't have to be exactly him, but there's a couple of arms, couple people that they can rely on, considering that Jordan Montgomery was able to go pretty late in his game one, like 6 1/3. And then also game two, Nathan Eovaldi went 6 innings, almost, like somewhere around the same thing. So you can get some help out of your bullpen. Couple other names. So maybe a short leash for Scherzer if he gets banged up, similar to like Leighton Kershaw, like he did against in the Dodgers game. Two different things to kind of just sidebar it. Either way, any thoughts for you on the postseason in general? Just your overall takeaways. Are you enjoying the teams that are winning, even though there have been blowouts, not as competitive as series as you've wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Phillies a lot. So, especially with Troy and Bryce Harper and stuff, I think they have a great chance of winning the whole thing. So, I've been watching them a lot lately. They've been fun to watch, even regardless if they've been blowing out teams. It's been cool. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just been so cool to see how dominant they are.
Watching those games, that fan base is awesome. If to be in that area, I would think that's got to be like spine tingling. It's got to be goosebumps about how
Oh
exciting that
yeah.
is. And just probably just a rough place to play for those opposing pitchers and players. That clearly, like I said, the game's just about wrapping up, and I think they already won 10-0. So yeah, Kyle Schwarber blessing 2 home runs. Aaron Nola solid 6 scoreless on his night. He was playing basically for a contract, and he looked like he's going to get a little bit get some big money, with or without a World Series. So pretty solid over there. Not too crazy. I'm okay so far. I like if it's Rangers Phillies, I like that. I do not want the Astros. I'm hit or miss on the Diamondbacks. I'm not opposed to it. I like those. I like those the snakes in there. One of the better jerseys, one of the better threads that in the MLB, in my personal opinion. So shout out to them. As long as it's not the Astros. Sorry, Jose Abreu. I love you, but You're on the cheater squad. You're on those goddamn Astros. They suck. Uh,
Fuck
any
no.
final thoughts on them? I'm gonna make sure I got all my notes in on that. Yeah, like I said, no huge road trip, and then just limiting Yordan Alvarez was Nathan Eovaldi in the ranges.
Yeah, he's hit the home runs. He had 2 home runs, I think,
Yeah, he
still,
did.
and he,
Yeah, in that game too.
but it did not matter.
No, it did not. And yeah, still talking about home runs. The Phillies have just been clobbering balls over the fence. Like these aren't just like little like, oh man, it's just at the wall. No, these are going. Oh, he's going to the second deck, like way up into the stands. It's fun to watch these Phillies right now. I'll see if they can carry that momentum into Chase Field in Arizona. And then what?
Hmm.
Yeah, Rangers and Astros will be first pitch from Arlington, probably 7 tonight. Not tonight as this is uploaded on a Wednesday, but
So that's
that
it.
should be
It's
the
just
case.
them two. The winners of these are going to the World Series
That is
already. I
correct.
feel like
The
this
yeah.
flown by.
Yes, I mean it's just been sweeps and 3-1 series galore. The wild card series, every single one was 2-0. So that just easy
Wow.
peasy right there. Let me think. 3-1 in the Astros Twins, 3-1 in the Phillies Braves, a sweep and then both sweeps for the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. So
Yeah.
yeah, they've just been in and out, 1, 2, 3. Just get let's going. Let's get to the show already. That's what they want. They actually want to finish the World Series and it still be October. I guess that's their goal. And they're on pace for it.
That
Uh
is that's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let's go. Let's see. Either way, that seems to be fun. Like I said, shout out to just Troy enjoying some Harper home runs, sending it to us. Well, I don't know what you've become. The Judas in your mind, Troy. That's what you've become.
Hmm.
Yeah. Where do we go? We can wrap this bad baby up with our final thoughts, a final hoorah pep talk for the Bulls. I can be as optimistic as possible, but I'm not really too positive on this squad. Would you like to take the reins and go first? Maybe any last little, like I said, it's not going on this. We still have another week of preseason. I don't know if you've been catching up on anything. I haven't really been watching too much. I just kind of catching box scores as they roll along, but uh yeah, it's been exactly that. Have you heard me say it on the live show? You've heard me say it on here in past episodes. I'm not as optimistic on this Bull squad as other teams are. Mike, can you please try and do maybe your best to sway me, or I don't know if you're feeling the same way, honestly. So go ahead, go take the Rams, go first on this ball game on this Bull squad. What are you thinking? Predictions, anything on this 2023-2024 season?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I've said it before, but the Bulls will not be able to beat the top teams in the NBA at all. If we will be able to fight for sure. We're probably going to be just like we were last year. We're going to be able to win some games. We're going to be able to get some surprise wins. We'll beat the Bucks once maybe and be like, "Oh shit, Bulls are decent." And
Yeah, we'll catch one game when Giannis is what is it called? When he's resting or whatever, when they're load management, one of those ball games or something like that.
yeah, it's just I think they'll have decent games for sure. We have decent players, and DeRozan, Levine, and Vucevic hopefully can play a little better. Man, like Kobe White and Dosumu, I mean Caruso. We've got decent people, and Andre Drummond bringing him back, he did great last year. And Patrick Williams, he just hasn't been as good as we hoped, but maybe he can do better this year. But that's just what we just hope. That's all we ever have is hope. Like maybe they'll be better. Maybe we'll actually be good, or maybe we'll actually be in the playoffs. It can never just be like we are a good team. Like Bucks fans are just like, oh, we're good as fuck, and we have Damian Lillard now. Like, we're just gonna win a bunch of games and make the playoffs for sure, and maybe go to the maybe go to the fucking championship. It's just like we have none of that here. It hasn't been like that in forever, and we make no moves ever. in free agency that are exciting. At
Yeah,
least it's
exactly.
I don't know. It's just depressing, honestly. With most Chicago sports, it seems like it's just the Bulls are just I don't know. I like the players, I like the team, but we're just not good enough to beat these other stellar teams that are in
Yes.
the NBA, and that's just what it comes
There's a
down
there's
to.
a
What
clear
it comes.
talent gap for sure among the elite teams in the NBA and then the Bulls. And I mean, there's a lot of other teams that are in the same talent pool as the Bulls, and some of them overachieve, some of them do exactly what they're supposed to do, and then the Bulls might be another 500 team. I know their win total is right around 38 and a half or something like that. I'm still not convinced that they will do anything worth a shit in this
Hmm.
season. A play-in team at best. But I'm more on the side that they might not even make the playoffs at all. Uh, there's a couple teams that got better that were in the basement, got a little bit better, and the Bulls kind of I've said this before, copy paste the same rosters last year.
Yeah, that's
It, like you already said, Bulls aren't beating the Bucks in a four-game series. Bulls are not beating the 76ers in a four-game series. The Bulls are not beating the Celtics in a four-game series. I wouldn't think that they're not going to beat the Miami Heat in a four-game series. That's already the top four seeds right there. If you want to say that
yeah.
it's going to be them, they're not. I don't think that they could maybe get to Game 6, but I don't think they're beating the Cavaliers with Donovan Mitchell. And yeah, so that leads you to being a play-in team, a 6, 7, 8, 9 team, like 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever the fuck, however this works now. It's all garbage. I think it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but whatever. Uh, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because I think the Pacers got a little bit better. The Knicks will still be mediocre enough to be in there. The Nets might fall off because they had Kevin Durant in the beginning, but they still played decent enough ball, 500 ball to stay in contention for a playoff spot. I really don't see it with the Bulls. My optimistic side is if they all stayed healthy for all 82 games, maybe they get that 40 win mark. But that you're asking a 36-year-old DeMar DeRozan and still up there older. He's probably reached his peak in talent in Zach LaVine, and we still don't get those MVP caliber seasons out of him. Vucevic, I've said my piece on him. He's a seven
Yeah,
foot soccer player. Empty calorie double doubles in him. I just don't see it. I get and that's also the thing. The East is a little. I can't even say that. I just rattled off all those teams that are better than the Bulls. I can't even say that the East is like easy. Like it's gonna be. We know who's gonna be at the top. It's just gonna be a matter like who's gonna get the scraps, who's gonna be able to fight and get into this play-in squad, and it might not be the Bulls. It's not going to be a layup that the Bulls are getting in the playoffs this year. I just want to be I want to be honest with other Bulls fans. I just don't think it's going to be that easy.
probably not.
Yeah, again, it won't surprise me if the Bulls somewhat overachieve early on in the season. You're going to get that month of MVP caliber basketball from DeMar DeRozan. It's just a matter of what month you're going to get it in. Hopefully, it's around a good time when the playoffs are coming in and everyone's nice and hot. But I just don't see it. Again, asking to win a four games in a 7-game series against the Bucks is almost impossible. I know that the Heat upset it and did it last year, but the Bulls aren't the Heat. It's just that it is what it is. Uh, yeah. I mean, I'm just hopefully again on the optimistic side. Hopefully Patrick Williams breaks through the glass ceiling and becomes the 4th overall pick that we all wanted him to be. Don't see that happening. Hopefully Zach LaVine becomes that supermax guy that we paid him to be. Don't think that's going to happen. And just exactly that with other people, just play up to their potential, overproduce, and I just don't think that's going to be the case. It's going to be mediocre 500 basketball for the Bulls, if not a little less than that, in my opinion. I wish I could be positive, but yeah. Every time I want to be about a Chicago squad, it kind of bites me in the ass. But that's just the way that it is right now. Uh, but I mean, we were kind of talking about this in our group chat. I'll wrap it up with this. Kyle made Kyle made the point that moves can be made. Yeah, just about anywhere. Like, you can go from worst to first in some cases. It's easier in baseball. You've seen it with the Red Sox. They literally went from first to worst to first to worst in like 4 years, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But uh it's a little bit tougher. The Bulls don't make the moves that we want to. The free agents just pass by Chicago now, and that just seems the way that it is. And they don't know how to draft. So I don't know. I get it. I get it, Kyle. Iowa's your neighbor, but it's not a reason to continue to root for the Bulls. I'm sorry, dude. It's just the way that it is.
Wow.
Uh, Final thoughts on the Bulls. Final thoughts on anything. Just I don't have any odds. Just MVP, six man, most improved, coach of the year. Do any Bulls players have any chance at this?
Um, Probably not. No. But hopefully they have a good season and
Yeah,
there's some fun games in
yeah,
there.
yeah, absolutely. I don't like you say you can go ahead and check when they base their schedule. They printed out their schedule by what jersey they're gonna be wearing. So be on the lookout for their new City Connect jerseys and how shitty those are gonna be. Just really
Hmm.
quick, I'm gonna wrap. We'll wrap it up really with this right now. Any teams off the top of your dome that might underperform or overperform this year? I'll rattle off two that I think at least in my mind. I think the Pacers will do a little bit better. I've been on this. I think I was talking about this when we did our preview on this maybe a couple months ago. They were actually plus money to get into the playoffs. They've gotten better, at least in my mind. Tyrese Halliburton, I think if he's still on the squad, might improve and just be enough to get the Pacers into some not top contention, but in there. And then on the flip side, hmm, yeah, you know what? I mean, is it a stretch to say that the Sacramento Kings won't be the third seed anymore? I think they'll still be in the realms, but I think they won't be in the top side, those top four seeds. It's gonna be a little bit tougher this year. I can only cross my fingers and hope that my West squad, the Timberwolves, actually make some big noise this year. Anthony Edwards, Carl Anthony Towns getting in there, banging around in the West, and the T Wolves, making some moves, making a run for the NBA Finals. Any final thoughts on the NBA in general before we wrap this one up?
Um, no, I'm good on my end. I
Cool,
like
cool, cool,
that
cool.
those teams at the Kings. I don't know if they'll be as good as they were last year, so we'll just have to
Yeah,
see how it goes.
yeah. I'll do a final. Also going to be deep diving on Friday and more on the gambling side of things. My other final thoughts, other props going into the season. Like I said, I'll touch upon that on Friday. But if you're good on everything else, Mike, we can wrap this bad baby up. Check, please. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in, liking, subscribing, watching. Thank you, Troy, for sending in stuff, and for Alan for taking your notes. That's always a big deal. Mike, I always appreciate you taking your time out of your day for doing this. So very much, thank you very much on that. Everybody else, like I said,
Anytime, man.
appreciate it. Like, subscribe everywhere, right here on the Degenerates Network YouTube page. Follow us on Twitter at Degenerates, XBomb Sports for the YouTube and the Facebook for Bad Karma Wrestling going live on Fridays. And like I said, twitch.tv/SportsTown Shy. No substitute for sports. Live, cleaning up everything and everything there. Thank you very much. This has been episode 40 on the agenda. We'll see you next week for episode 41. Take care. We'll see you. Take care. We'll see yous.